And here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by creating an interface. So first thing I do is I'm going to create a new Java project, and I'm just going to call this one acting.
What if you already? Okay.
Okay, I'm going to call it acting. I'm going from scratch. Some of you might already have an interface or an abstract class. This, for the sake of the recording, but also just as a review, I'm going to just start from scratch from day one because we're not really behind. We're about exactly where we should be. So under acting, I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose new interface. I'm going to call this interface actor and hit finish. Now, again, what an interface is, it is a set of skills or that you can utilize later. Now, I did say something about variables. Who remembers what I said about variables in interfaces? Yes, Yoel.
They have to be final if you type initial.
They have to, so a combo of that, you're close. The variables inside an interface need to be final and they need to be initialized. But here's the thing, because the AP does not test on final, you will not see variables inside an interface. Does that make sense? But you will be required to write methods as a possibility, or option B, you'll be given an interface and you'll need to know how to implement it. So for right now, for this class, actor, we're going to work with 3 methods. Somebody give me a method that would probably, let's say, look at it this way. Let's say you have to create a profile for an actor that you need to hire. What are 3 skills, okay, that an actor might need?
Singing.
Okay, singing. So how would we write that method? What would be a good method to write? Public Boolean, and what are we going to call this? Can sing?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll call this can sing, and all we have to do is that. Boolean can sing.
Why do we only have that?
With an interface, like I said, an interface is designed to be a set of skills. You will fill them in later. What a lot of people do is the reason they use interfaces is they'll put a whole bunch of methods that they need at the beginning. Because let's say, for example, let's say every time you make a car, like let's say an automatic car, every time you make an automatic car, you've got to build a transmission from scratch. Sure, you can remember how to do it and stuff like that, but is there a possibility you might miss something? Yeah, we're humans. We make errors. But with an interface, it's something that is just going to be mirrored the exact same thing over and over and over again. So for example, an automatic car. What are the 4 things that an automatic transmission has? Nope. Park, reverse, drive, and neutral. Now, obviously, are there variations where they've taken that? Yes, but what they all have in common is they've implemented that automatic transmission interface. They've initialized it. So, for example, let's say in a Honda, park, just applies regular brakes. But in a Mercedes, they tailor it so it also engages the emergency brake. But either way, you are initializing it. You have been forced to initialize. Does that make sense? So we have public Boolean can sing. What else? Public Boolean can dance. And let's also, but here's another thing. Let's do one that actually takes a parameter. Let's do public double salary. Okay? And what salary will do is based on our requirements, what we'll do is we'll test to make sure the salary meets our budget. Okay, so when we initialize it, we'll put salary requirements in here. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put double salary right there. Okay, done. You are done with this interface. I'm going to expand it a little bit. That's it. Now, rule number one was if you have variables, they need to be final. They need to be initialized. Rule number 2, you do not complete the methods. You just write them out. That's it. Rule number 3, you cannot repeat. You cannot create an object out of an interface. I cannot say actor X equals new actor. It does not work that way. Rule number 4, because you can't create an act or an object out of it because it's something completely special, notice what it lacks. A constructor. And again, all of these rules are on this recording, so if you just need to go over it again, go over it. Pray that you get an interface question. They are really, really, really easy. So now what I'm going to do is this. Yes?
So by saying there can't be any objects, that's pretty much saying everything is static?
And that's not what static means. Okay? So what happens is now I've created my interface in order for a class to get ready to use it. So now what we're going to do is, let's say we implement Tom Cruise, my favorite actor. We're going to say class, and who remembers? We're going to say Tom Cruise extends or
Implement.
implements. And I'm going to say actor. Now you'll notice it right away. Now this is the part that the AP is going to require you to know. Most of the time you will be given the interface. You'll be given this. And what the AP question is going to do is it's going to give you a set of commands. Implement the interface, give a constructor, so do a constructor or something like that, and then what it's going to say is it's going to say, and then complete the things, this method should do this method should do this, and this method should do this. That's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just start it from scratch. We're going to keep this error. I don't want Eclipse to do it for me. If I put my mouse over, notice that it says add unimplemented methods, it'll do it for me. I don't want to do it. The more you type it, the better you're going to retain it. So the first things first, this is a class. I'm going to say I have 3 possible variables based on based on the methods. So what would be my methods? Or my variables? Boolean and probably what? Sing and dance, right? And then double salary. Very good. So now, more than likely, what the AP question would ask you is, build the constructor. Now, I did this based off these methods. The AP question, a lot of AP questions, they'll tell you, these are the global variables, and initialize them with the constructor. They give you that information. Now, here's one thing that they will do. They'll give you this. And being just sometimes being as we are, oh cool, they've given us this information. They will give you this. But here's the thing that you need to remember. You will get docked a point off for this. Why? Nick, why? Take a look at this. Nick only. Why? You'll be given this on a question. This is right, but it's missing something. Come on, Nick, you got this. Nope. What are those? Okay. Global variables, right? What are all global variables? Nope. Rome? Private. So they'll give you this. And literally what they will do, this is worth the point. They'll give you this just to make sure that you add this.
How would you add it?
You just, what you do is you copy it. When you're rewriting it, you make sure you add private to the front of it. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing, listen up. Because remember, we're writing the class. All we've done is implement actor. We haven't gotten to this yet. But this is when, the minute we create a class, even though it's implemented, this interface, it's still a class. We can have methods, more methods, constructors, treat it like a regular class. The only difference is because we've implemented actor, down the line, somewhere in this class, we're gonna have to initialize these. But until we get there, treat it like a regular class. Okay, now, what would my constructor be that would initialize? Okay, and one other thing I want to say really quickly. Sometimes you might get objects that you have to initialize. It doesn't matter if it's objects. It doesn't matter if it's variables. Anything that needs to be initialized by a constructor, if it's global, it's private. You can make private objects. So sometimes what they'll do is they'll give you an object that they've initialized in here or that they've declared. In the constructor, you'll finish initializing the object, but Just keep in mind that if it's outside, if it's global, private. Yes.
So if they're telling you to build an object, but they also want the global variables, doesn't that mean you have to make the whole class with the constructor?
Yeah, so that's what we're doing right now.
Okay, so if they ask
So what's
about,
what's the constructor for this?
like Tom Cruise?
Public
um,
Tom Cruise, and and what I would do is I would say Boolean sing, Boolean dance, and double salary. Mikey. And Mikey only. How would I properly initialize my global variables?
I remember that you said that you don't use like this dot, right? Is that not it?
Never said that.
Oh, so then did you do that?
Do you tell me?
So yeah,
What would be the best way? They've got the same name. So the dummy has the same name as the global.
then this dot sing equals sing. And then
Beautiful. There we go. You're right. Go with your gut.
Okay.
This dot sing equals sing. This dot dance equals what? Finish it off.
Oh, and then this dot salary equals sing.
Bingo. This dot salary equals salary. And again, we use the keyword this because it refers to the global variables. So now we have properly initialized our global variable. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we need to fill out our methods. We're going to start off with Boolean can sing. Just knowing this, guys, public Boolean can sing, just being able to write this. Just being able to write it. If you remember, even let's say you don't know how to implement any or how to do anything in the code. Okay? Let's say you know nothing of how to do anything in the code, but you remember with an interface that you know the keyword implements, and you know you can write this, you know how to do private, you know how to do constructor, and let's just say you don't know how to do the methods, but you remember that, okay, I know that I at least have to write them out. That's a point. Sometimes it's a point per method. Okay? So public Boolean can't sing. So what we're going to do is we're going to return true or false based on what was sent to us from the constructor. So Noah, what would the code for this be?
Return,
Beautiful. Perfect. Why did he do that? Return sing. Some of you would probably say use an if statement, right? It would make sense if they can sing turn. But what type of variable is sing?
already a Boolean.
It's a Boolean. So it's already going to be true or false. So all you have to do is return sing.
So what would they put? Like,
So let's say, for example, we were creating the object. We would say, in a tester class, we would say Tom Cruise actor 1 equals new Tom Cruise. Let's say yes, yes, and 2 million. So yes goes into sing, dance goes into sing. So this turns to a true. So we would say true, 2 million. So because this is true, the return type is a Boolean. Is sing a Boolean? We don't need to do an if statement. We can just return the variable. It's either going to be true or false. Bingo. Very smart. Very clever. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do public Boolean dance. Very similar. Public Boolean dance. What's going to happen now?
They're not can dance.
Or I'm sorry, you're right. Very good call. Public Boolean can dance. What are we going to turn here? Huh?
Dance.
Turn dance. That's also a Boolean. These are easy. Will you get something like this on the AP? Yes. What they're doing in a way is they're testing to make sure you know not to use an if statement. That it's easier. Okay? Because what some people would do is what some students would actually do, they would say if sing, return true, else return false. You don't need that. You can just return the Boolean value. Yes.
While that's quicker, doesn't the AP not care how efficient your code is?
They don't. That's why you would still get credit, but you can use an if-else statement, 4 lines of code, or you can use one.
So this is obviously better, but both still get you full credit.
But yeah, so if you were to say something like, so for example, let me just put this one as an example as an if statement. So if we said if dance And then what we would do is return true. I know, I see him. He's a tool. All right, else, return false. All right, so take a look. This one, oops, there we go. This one is completely legal. If dance, which was going to be true or false, return true, else return false, is the same thing as saying, try to say. So you can do this or return dance. Which one's easier? Both accomplish the same thing. Both would get you full points. But again, I want you guys to start tackling efficiency. You got it, Yali? Does it make sense? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we have one last method that we need to do. Okay. We have the... Let me just close this really quickly. Okay, good. And then last one we have is salary. So what we're going to do is let's say we're an indie budget film. And what we're going to do is we're going to test to see if they meet our salary requirements. So public double. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're not going to, let's change this to string. Okay. And we're going to say public string salary. You'll see in a second why. Public string salary and double salary. Yep. So this is the thing that's being passed from the tester class. If salary is greater than this dot salary. Or actually, double salary requirements. Actually, we don't even need a... Actually, because they're throwing in the parameter. We don't need a parameter here. So let's get rid of this parameter up here as well. Because we don't need it. So if this dot salary, I'm just being, fickle. If this dot salary is greater than, let's say, what do you want to say? What's a good 2 million? So if this dot salary is greater than 2 million, we're going to say return not hireable. Otherwise, return there we go. And you'll notice now, if I max out, notice my error on Tom Cruise has gone away. Why? Because I have now initialized all methods. I have met the requirements. Is can sing, can dance, and salary? Can sing, can dance, and salary. Are they all initialized? Absolutely they are. Okay? And this is how an interface works. That's all you need to do. So if I were to grade this, okay, let's say this was out of 9 points, I would give you +1 just for knowing that you needed, that you knew how to, the key thing, they'll test to see you know the implements keyword. Okay? You'll know, you'll get +1 for knowing that you need private. You'll get +1 just for knowing the proper constructor signature, and then another point for actually initializing everything. Now here's what, this is usually an all or nothing point. If you knew to open up all of these, to rewrite these, that would be another point. And then a point for this, a point for this, and a point for this. Okay? More than likely, this one would probably be 2 points because they put it on a conditional. There's your 9 points. As you can see, it's a stretch. And what I mean by that is these questions are so easy that they kind of, okay, we can give them a point for this. We give them a point for this. Really? Okay, I'll take it. Easy points. Okay, now here's the thing. Unfortunately, they had an interface question last year. They probably won't have one again this year. But what they will do is they probably will have an abstract question. Okay? And we're going to go over abstract a little bit. But first, what I'd like us to do is we're all going to do an AP question. And that's it for the video.